right, so today we're starting up a new section. New section today is Islam. So go ahead and write down Islam and underline it as our new section title. This is the last of 5 religions that we are talking about in this unit. So in this unit, we've talked about Hinduism, Buddhism, Judaism, Christianity, and now Islam will be the last one. And next to Islam, we're going to make the symbol for Islam, which is a half crescent moon and star. So to make a half crescent moon, you pretty much just make a C. And then you just double back. There you go. There's our star, our moon. And then after you make your moon, and we're gonna make a star. To make a star, you make an A, and then you cross it. And there you go. There's our half crescent moon and star. So once you got that, then the next thing to do is we're gonna make a new bullet. We're gonna write down the word terms. So bullet terms. So there's a couple terms that we need to talk about for Islam. The first off is that people who practice Islam, they're not called Islamics, they're called Muslims. So Muslim is someone who practices Islam. Why do we call them Muslims instead of Islamics? The reason for that is the word Muslim, Muslim, equal sign, means one who submits. What do they submit to? The will of God. So one Muslim, equal sign, one who submits. And once again, Muslim is someone who submits to the will of God. So one Muslim, equal sign, one who submits. So that's someone who's a Muslim, is just someone who submits to the will of God. Now, the next thing then is, what does the word Islam mean? So to Islam. Now, Islam just means submission to Allah. Allah just means God in Arabic. So to Islam, equal sign, submission to Allah. And again, Allah just means God in Arabic, just like how Yahweh means God in Hebrew. Okay, so what ends up happening is that Muhammad, he's born in year 570 Common Era. And when he's born, we'll talk more about him also in a bit too. But when he's born, he ends up becoming kind of a traitor. And eventually throughout life, he eventually goes and does a lot of teachings and such, particularly in the area of Mecca. However, let's make a 3. Let's write down the word Hajj. Let's talk about what that term means. So I'll make a 3, write down Hajj, and then make equal sign, journey to Mecca. So once in your lifetime, you're supposed to make a journey to Mecca, which is the holy city for Islam. At Mecca is that black stone that fell from heaven that we talked about before. And that black stone that fell from heaven, once again, is called the Kaaba, Kaaba. It was constructed by Abraham, and Ismail constructed the Kaaba. And the black stone that fell from heaven is in one of the corners of that structure. Now, that journey to Mecca, the first year that happened in, which connects to Muhammad, was in 622 Common Era. All right, so when that happened, the first Hajj by Muhammad, it was in 622 Common Era, and that's the beginning of the Islamic calendar. So go ahead and make a 4, write down 622 Common Era, and then make an equal sign, and then write down is the beginning of the Islamic calendar. So 622 Common Era, equal sign, is the beginning of the Islamic calendar. So for Islam, the beginning of their calendar is in 622 Common Era. That's their year number 1. So in the Christian calendar that we use, our year 1 is when Jesus is born, while in the Islamic calendar, their first year is when the first Hajj occurred by Muhammad during the Mecca. And the calendar for Islam is different than the calendar for Christianity. In our Christian calendar, 1 year in our Christian calendar is one complete cycle of the earth going around the sun. All right, so it's a solar year. So 1 year of the earth going around the sun, 1 solar year. that is what we use for a year in the Christian calendar. In the Islamic calendar, they don't use a solar cycle, a solar year, as their year. Instead, their year is 12 cycles of the moon. So the moon going around the earth 12 times, bam, there you go. That's a year in Islam, meaning that there are less days in a year in Islam than there is in the Christian calendar. So in Islam, they have 354 days. So not the same as ours. All right. Go ahead and make a bullet. Write down the word Mohammed. So bullet, Muhammad. So let's talk a little more about Muhammad. Like we said before, Muhammad was born in Mecca in 570 Common Era. So we got bullet Muhammad, and then we're going to make a 1. Born in Mecca in 570 Common Era. So he was born in Mecca in 570 Common Era. And once again, this is what the city of Mecca looks like nowadays. And that's where he's born. So 570 Common Era, born there. Once again, Mecca has the Kaaba right down there. You can see the Kaaba in the picture. And this building right here is one of the tallest buildings in the world. This is the Mecca Royal Clock Tower and Hotel. So when Muhammad was born, he eventually becomes a trader. So he eventually starts kind of trading across the Arabia desert area. And while he's traveling around, he eventually gets a message from an angel that tells him that he's God's prophet and he needs to go preach that there is one God and one God only. So we're going to write down Allah's prophet, or you can write down Allah's messenger, either one. 2, Allah's prophet or Allah's messenger. You can write down either one. So being a prophet of God, what is Muhammad told to do? Well, he's told that he's the last of 7 prophets. And he's the one who gets the final truth from God. And the final truth that he gets from God is that there is only one God and one God only. That's the final truth that he gets from God. Now, according to Muhammad, Christians don't have the entire truth because he's the last prophet and Jesus is the 6th prophet. And also, according to him, Jews have the least amount of truth. So Jews have like the Old Testament, the first 5 books of the Bible. So they have the least amount of truth according to Muhammad. And then Christians have a bit more to truth because then they have the New Testament. So they have a bit more to truth. And then Muslims have the entire truth because they have the Quran, which has then more additional information. All right, so that's according to Muhammad. So that he's the last of 7 prophets. Go ahead and make a 3. We're going to write down last of 7 prophets. So then who are the prophets before Muhammad? Like who would be the 6 before him? Let's see here. I believe it's Adam, Noah, Moses. Oh, wait a minute. Adam, Noah, Abraham, Moses, David, Jesus, and then Muhammad. There we go. I believe those are 7. Yeah, so you have Adam, Abraham, Noah, Moses, David, Jesus, and Muhammad. I think those are the ones that he considered to be prophets before himself. But there's also a whole bunch of other prophets as well. When you get into Quran, there's like 20 something. So it gets a bit confusing. In any case, number 4, gets the final truth. There we go. So 4 gets the final truth. So as I said before, according to him, he gets the final truth, and nobody else comes after him as a prophet. He's the last one. So if anybody else says they're a prophet of God, they're a liar because he's the last one, according to himself. Okay. Now, Muhammad is preaching about how there's one God and one God only while he's in Mecca. But the people in Mecca were idol worshippers. What's an idol worshiper? It's someone who worships an idol. Like, hey, there's a statue of a god. I'm going to worship it. Okay, so that's an idol worshiper. And I guess people in Mecca weren't very happy with Muhammad. They kick him out. So he flees to the city of Medina. When he gets to the city of Medina, the people of Medina are like, "Oh, hey, Muhammad, you're pretty cool." So they end up going with Muhammad. Muhammad recruits up an army in Medina. He makes war with Mecca. Go ahead, Mecca 5. Muhammad makes war with Mecca. So Muhammad wins the war with Medina. So Medina kind of backs him. Bam, he takes over Mecca. And after he takes over Mecca, he ends up dying in 632 Common Era. Go ahead and make a 6. Muhammad dies in 632 Common Era. So he's kicked out of Mecca in 622, comes back, takes it over, and then he eventually dies in 632. And then there's a bit of a debate then when he dies in 632, who should take over next? Should it be Muhammad's uncle or Muhammad's daughter's husband? That creates then a split between two different groups, one called the Shias and one called the Sunnis, which we will talk about next time.